Oxford Seattle, Damasami's talk, and it's going to be on mindfulness and emotions management in daily life. Just a few things before the session begins. There are 5 toilets. These are just the minor things that we need to know, but there are 5 toilets on this floor. There are 2 on this side, and out of the 2, 1 is just meant solely for Seattle, so he will use that. The second one can be used by all the males in the room, and for the other 3 on the other side, anyone can use them. If those are all busy, because we're having 4 sessions of talks and followed by Q&A, and after every session we will have a short break for toilet breaks. So if there happens to be crowd control, we might actually need to go downstairs. If you take the lift to the first floor, there's a lot of toilets downstairs as well. Got that out of the way. As for bags, I think right now it's quite okay, but in case more people come in and in case we may not have enough space for them to sit, we were advised to put all our bags under our chairs and not on the chairs so that the latecomers can also have a place to sit down in. And for all your phones, could you all please turn them off to silent mode before Seattle gives his talk? As for me personally, I was here yesterday for Seattle's talk, and I thoroughly enjoyed his talk about mindfulness and emotions management. It was my favorite part was about how we all go into emergency mode. And to be honest, in our daily life, we do tend to go to that a lot. So I'm really looking forward to hearing Seattle elaborate more on all of what he said yesterday. Just now, a brief bio about Seattle. Seattle has been a monk for more than 30 years. Venerable Dr. Kamai Dhammasami is a Buddhist chaplain at Oxford University, where he graduated with a doctorate degree. Venerable Dhammasami is abbot of the Oxford Buddha Vihara, which has a branch in Singapore. And he also regularly teaches in Europe, Thailand, Myanmar as well. Combining his experiences in the West with Buddhist tradition, Venerable Dhammasami has taught classes on emotional management, drawing on Buddhist mindfulness practices and modern psychology. So if we could all now put our hands together and pay respect to Seattle on his entrance. Thank you very much.
So the first step, the most essential foundation is to keep in touch with our emotion, to know what is here. Every emotion has an energy. Whether we are going to leave it to become destructive energy, or constructive energy, we have a choice. We don't believe in one of the philosophies during the Buddha's time in India is called determinism or fatalism, that everything is fixed. We don't believe in that. We believe that everything is in our hand and we can shape our own destiny. And the way to do that, as far as I understand, is to get in touch with our emotion. When you go out with very nice handbag, you feel very good. If you have many handbags, which one you choose on which occasion, the emotion plays a role. Now, you go out with this handbag. You are at the place in the ceremony. If no one says anything, look at your emotion. If you're expecting somebody to give compliments to your handbag and no one is coming forth, then you can see you're starting to get tense. That's expectation. So expectation is also emotion. When there's expectation, there is disappointment. Disappointment. And this disappointment is also emotion. You see, one after another. If you have to start a function with high expectation and disappointment, all happen at the subconscious level, you're not going to enjoy the function 100%. You put on your best dress and no one is saying anything, giving any compliment. You go home, you're disappointed that no one has noticed that you are in your best dress, that you have changed your hairdo. These things, they happen on a daily basis. I'd like to suggest that we do a short exercise and then we have questions and answers and break. We are going to do about 15 minutes exercise. That's part of mindfulness meditation. First is to try to breathe nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. Nice breathing is very important. Every day, for 24 hours, we breathe about 20,000 times. How many times we breathe normally, nicely, to support our lung, to provide sufficient oxygen to our blood, to our cells. So it's important to breathe nicely. And then I'm going to suggest that you imagine, you visualize. I would rather say you scan your emotion here and now. You scan what kind of emotion you have. Is there any obvious emotion? Are you being restless in thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow? Or something that you have had to cancel today? Or something that you have done but not quite up to your expectation today, and that keeps bothering you. So just observe any obvious emotion. Register that. Register without judging. Register non-judgmental. And then release. You train your mind to release that emotion. And return to breathing. Register, release, and return 3R. Register the emotion a few times, 3 or 4 times. Register willingly. Not because you want to get rid of that emotion, but with a lot of interest, with willingness, as if this is your only child. You pay attention. So that one thing. Then the second thing is go back to yesterday, maybe at work, at home, trying to notice some noticeable emotion. That's yesterday. And then maybe last week, maybe last month. So 3 points for you. Here and now. Yesterday and before that, previously, maybe last week or last month. When you notice the emotion, when you are in touch with the emotion, see how your mind reacts. Whether your mind gets carried away by that emotion. If somebody says something nasty to you, you're aware of that agitation, if the mind starts blaming the person who says something stupid to you, then observe that as well. Blaming, blaming, blaming. Register, release, and return. So you all said, okay, first for today, here and now, then yesterday, then go back a little further to the past. After that, try to connect with the emotion of your loved ones, your family members. Don't be judgmental, just trying to relate to their emotion. Noticeable. Your family members. And the third one is your colleagues at work. Whether they are tense, whether they are impatient, agitated. So three groups of people you all have. Number one, number two, family members, one by one. And number three, the people you work with. Slow and deep breathing. Slow and deep breathing. Take nice breath. 15 minutes.
You raised a very important question. Letting go is not an easy thing. It's a practice. Letting go happens when with fully conscious mind. Not only fully conscious mind, but also the mind with compassion and with wisdom. We are going to be talking in the next sessions. Just to be aware of it is not enough. Sometimes when we are aware of it, and we don't have the experience of letting go, then the mind doesn't know what to do with that. So the mind clings onto that. Meaning subconscious mind comes in. Subconscious mind and conscious mind, they are always behaving like a tug of war, trying to win. So when we register the emotion, this is dissatisfaction, this is irritation, we use a third person's tone. Not that I am agitated. We don't put I in the agitation, because agitation as an element that works with subconscious mind, okay, it has no person. It cannot distinguish even between positive and negative elements. And there is no I, there is no you in that irritation. Irritation can happen anywhere, anytime, to anyone, okay, who has no mindfulness, who has no compassion. Irritation can happen. So we register, this is irritation, this is irritation, this is irritation. And we deliberately move our attention to something else. Deliberately move our attention maybe back to breathing. I call this attention movement control. ANC. Our attention always moves. But if we move our attention consciously, that we are in control. If we don't move it consciously, then the attention will move by itself, that will be led by the behavior at the subconscious level. That's what we call ignorance. So the early psychologists, they say the education of attention, it can happen with the best education. That's what we call mindfulness. So now we are educating our mind. We are training our mind to move with awareness from the emotion back to breathing. But if that emotion persists, that means we have to go back to the emotion to acknowledge that again and return to breathing. The fact that you are able to move back and forth between emotion and breathing means you are in control. You are managing it. Okay? The emotion is not overwhelming. It's still there. It's still there, but you have identified the problem. It's a matter of being persistent with treatment. Any question?
Good afternoon, Bhante. How do we differentiate between letting go and ignoring?
If you acknowledge the emotion first a few times, try to get in touch with that. If it is a negative one, if it's painful, and try to feel the pain. And then consciously move your attention away. Okay. We are not able to transform this emotion as yet. But at the moment we are managing, using attention movement control. So this is not ignoring. We have accepted that there is this emotion. Ignorance comes at the subconscious level. It's automatic. You just turn your mind away. Okay. Here you talk to somebody, all of a sudden you disagree with each other, and then you just break up and go and do something else. This can be an ignoring behavior. Instead of that, you may say, okay, this is where we differ. This is my opinion. I respect your opinion. Maybe we talk another time. So this is an acknowledgement. An acknowledgement of disagreement, also an acknowledgement of the fact that there can be some pain in this. And we give ourselves another opportunity. And then consciously, we move our attention to something else, just to give ourselves a break. In terms of psychology, it's very different. Letting go is a conscious decision, conscious function. Ignoring is an automatic and subconscious action. We have children sitting here. When you play your games, try to identify some emotion in that. In the games, I have many nephews and nieces. I see them playing games. Those games, they go by emotion. They don't go by reasoning. Instead of
a man fishing a fish. Sometimes a fish is fishing a man in the game. So I said, okay, actually children, they get hooked to that because they can relate to that through that emotion. So if you can, from time to time, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you can ask yourself, what's my emotion? What's the emotion of the character in the game? Then you're okay.
Just like you mentioned about attention movement control. For example, let's say we are angry, we acknowledge we're angry right now, and then we move our attention away and focus on breathing. So it sounds to me like it's a way of coping at that point of time, just to distract our attention so that we can get angry. A way of controlling emotion. So then my question is, sometimes the anger might come that way, because it's just like temporarily moving our attention away from the anger. So then, what do we do with the anger if it comes again and again and again? Because it seems like we're not processing the anger or understanding what the anger is about before we even fully let go.
If anger comes back again, you do the same. You acknowledge it. You acknowledge this and you move your attention away from anger again. You do this for 3 or 4 times. When you do this 3 or 4 times, you are establishing the supremacy of consciousness over the subconscious mind. By doing this simple exercise, 3 are register, release and return. Once you have done that, now you have the capacity to get in touch with more emotion. Anger doesn't come to them. Okay. If you're angry with somebody, your attitude may be negative towards this person as well. Your attitude towards this person, your attitude towards your... If I come here, okay, to this room, expecting special treatment, that's my attitude. If I don't get that, if I get angry, you see, it's not just anger that I have to get in touch, also my own attitude. Okay. Sometimes we expect other people, and we are not aware of our expectation because we think that's part of our privilege as human being, and this is our right and like that. And when that happens, we have very low resilience to tolerate any discomfort. So anger can happen very easily. It can happen very easily. But what I'm trying to say is that mystery has a lot of associates. It comes with many friends. So it's about dissecting anger. To let go, it doesn't mean anger in a way will be vanished into the sea. It's not like that. It's about understanding anger. When we talk about the Four Noble Truths, negative emotion is the first noble truth. And what do we have to do? Do we have to run away from this? No. Do we have to fight with that? No. We shouldn't use our emergency resources dealing with that. What do? We have to use intelligence. We have to use understanding. We have to understand them. Only through understanding that letting go will arise. So here, when you go back and forth using attention movement control like that, now you know that your mind is more or less stable. You can stay with anger longer. You can observe it continuously. Now, you should observe anger continuously. Just feel the pain of anger. Feel the pain of anger and try to see the automatic reaction that tend to come up. The blaming game that pop up again and again. As you see them, acknowledge them non-judgmentally, you bring them up to the from subconscious mind to the conscious mind. In the subconscious mind and at the conscious level, conscious mind level, anger has no power. Anger has no power. You know, if a predator, a lion and a buffalo, if they see each other in the open and facing each other like this, the lion wouldn't kill the buffalo because they look at each other like this. It's in the open. So, conscious mind is like in the open space. So, we get in touch with anger. We stay with that as long as we can at some point. But at the beginning, we need to retreat. We need to deliberately move our attention away so that we don't get overwhelmed by anger. This is to take the opportunity to grow and strengthen mindfulness. So this is the process.
I find that this is a very interesting exercise, and I compare that with how I deal with emotion. Sometimes we distract ourselves, so it's also a form of attention movement, but we move our attention to something else to distract ourselves, and we don't get in touch with our emotion. So when I did the exercise, I find that I also come away with a clearer idea of the problem that caused the emotion, as well as a sense of a solution to it, and hence the action to do. So I'm just wondering, is this a natural process in this practice?
Yeah, this is a natural process. The Buddha said this natural process existed even before he became Buddha. Very natural. To get in touch with this is very important. Usually we take refuge in distraction. When we are stressed out, we like to distract ourselves. Without distraction, we can't survive. In the worldly life, we can't survive. Because to deal with stress straight away is too much for us. We don't have that spiritual practice, that spiritual power, we don't have that. So when we do this kind of meditation practice, we get that spiritual power within ourselves. With distraction, in one of the Eastern European countries that I visit annually, a high-flying professor and his wife is also full-time employee. They don't have a lot of time for their son. handsome. So naturally they feel guilty for not giving enough attention to their child. What they do is, they give him a lot of toys, they buy a lot of things. By the time they brought the child to me, he was 6 years old. And the child was very distracted, maybe clinically also, and by that time, hyper. And I said, well, the point the starting point of discussion was like this. 2 days ago, the father bought the son of his toy. Then 2 days later, the son said, Daddy, you never bought me, you never buy me a toy. The father was very taken by surprise. Not only that, he was actually angry. I still have received. I bought you a toy 2 days ago. A 6-year-old wouldn't understand. Receive. For the father, this is the principle of truth. I bought him 2 days ago. I'm telling the truth. So why he's saying that he's only 6 years old and he's telling a lie? I can't accept this. The father said, Professor, calm down. I'm going to be a Buddhist diplomat here, I told him. You're telling the truth and your son is telling the truth. You're telling the truth because you have the receipt to prove. Your son is telling the truth because he has no relationship to this toy, the new toy. You bought him, but he doesn't feel that this toy belongs to him. He doesn't feel he has any toy, as if he has many toys. This can happen because sometimes parents with this spend a lot of time away from their children. Sometimes they go out with their friends, they spend a lot of money and they come home. Wow, the poor kid hasn't got anything, they buy him a toy. If you have one toy, then it's easier for the child to form a relationship with this toy. He doesn't have to choose 2 toys. Now the child has to decide which toy is his, which one is best. Sometimes he plays with this, another time he plays with this. He has the opportunity, or he has no opportunity to establish a lasting relationship with any of those toys. 3 toys, you are wrecking his brain. 4 toys was 5. Some people, there's a room full of toys. The child doesn't feel that he has any of it, that any of it belongs to him. It's an emotional statement from the child. You need to read the emotional statement from your child. And at that time, both husband and wife stopped me. We have already made a mistake. Now, the child is distracted. He needs more and more. He needs more and more toy. But any toy will become old, and he will become fed up with that. Straight away, and then you want new one. You can see the vicious circle forming here. So I usually tell parents that they should keep in touch with their emotion. Sometimes they feel guilty, and despite many things, actually, the child emotional growth cannot keep up with that. What the child has got is only the habit of distraction. Without distraction, cannot live. That's what happened to many of us. I think we take a break for about 7 minutes and we come back for another session.